Behind the heavy walls of KGB headquarters, the atmosphere is calm, almost ordinary. Rows of desks are covered with reports arriving from Soviet embassies, intercepted communications, military attaches, and field agents scattered across Europe, Asia, and the Americas. Telephones ring quietly, while analysts compare photographs, decode messages, and assemble fragments of information into a clearer picture of the world. Contrary to popular belief, very few KGB officers spend their days chasing enemy agents through dark alleys. Most victories are achieved through patience, paperwork, observation, and careful planning. A single intercepted document can sometimes be more valuable than an entire military operation. Your assignment this morning appears simple. A foreign diplomat has been meeting regularly with a Soviet engineer involved in naval research. No evidence of espionage exists yet, but unusual behavior always attracts attention. You receive a thin folder containing photographs, addresses, work schedules, and handwritten notes collected over several weeks. Every detail matters: the cafe they visit, the time they arrive, the route they take home, even how often they look over their shoulders. Intelligence work is rarely about dramatic discoveries. It is about noticing the one small detail everyone else ignores. As you leave the building, another team begins electronic surveillance, while others monitor telephone communications and incoming international mail. During the Cold War, intelligence was no longer gathered only through human sources. Advances in photography, radio interception, cryptography, and electronic monitoring transformed espionage into a technological competition between East and West. The KGB constantly sought military, scientific, and political information that could strengthen the Soviet Union while protecting its own secrets from agencies such as the CIA, MI6, and West Germany's intelligence services. Every side believed information could prevent surprise attacks or win the next stage of the Cold War without firing a single shot. You spend the afternoon blending into the streets, never standing out for too long. Sometimes you sit inside a cafe pretending to read a newspaper. Other times you walk slowly through a public square or wait inside a parked car with fog beginning to form on the windows. Hours pass without anything remarkable happening. That is often the reality of surveillance. Success depends on remaining invisible, even when nothing seems to occur. Eventually, the diplomat arrives exactly on schedule. Minutes later, the engineer joins him. They exchange polite conversation, drink coffee, and leave separately. Nothing illegal takes place, yet every movement is photographed and carefully documented. Tomorrow those photographs may reveal a pattern that today appears meaningless. As evening approaches, you return to headquarters carrying rolls of undeveloped film and pages of handwritten observations. Analysts will compare today's activities with reports gathered weeks or even months earlier. Intelligence is built like a puzzle, one piece at a time. Rarely does a single report change history. But dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of small observations collected by different officers can expose an entire espionage network. Before leaving for home, you walk through silent corridors lined with locked offices. Somewhere beyond those doors, other agents are preparing covert operations abroad. Some will recruit foreign officials. Others will protect Soviet diplomats overseas. A few may never return. Their names will remain classified for decades if they are ever revealed at all. You realize that your own work will likely never appear in newspapers or history books. If you succeed, no one will know you existed. If you fail, the consequences could extend far beyond your own career. As you step back into the cold Moscow night, the city appears completely ordinary. Families eat dinner, children play in apartment courtyards, factory workers head home after long shifts, and trains continue carrying thousands of passengers beneath the streets. Yet hidden beneath this routine is an invisible conflict that stretches across continents. It is a war fought with secrets instead of bullets, with coded messages instead of artillery, and with information instead of armies. Tomorrow, when the sun rises again, the Cold War will continue, and so will you. The following morning begins the same way as every other. The greatest compliment a KGB officer can receive is to be considered forgettable. You leave your apartment at the same hour as thousands of other Soviet citizens, carrying nothing that would reveal your profession. The Cold War is not fought only by soldiers standing at borders or by nuclear missiles waiting in underground silos. It is fought by ordinary-looking men and women who disappear into crowds, collecting information that may influence decisions made thousands of miles away. In this world, patience is often more valuable than courage. Today's assignment takes you beyond simple surveillance. Intelligence has suggested that a foreign contact may attempt to pass sensitive information using a method known among intelligence officers as a dead drop. Instead of meeting face to face, information is hidden inside an ordinary object and left in a public place, allowing another person to retrieve it later without either individual ever being seen together. It might be concealed inside a hollow brick, beneath a loose park bench, inside a public locker, or even hidden within a seemingly harmless newspaper. Techniques like these became common during the Cold War because they dramatically reduced the chances of exposing an entire espionage network. You arrive early and quietly observe the area from a distance. Hours pass. People come and go without noticing your presence. An elderly couple feeds pigeons. Office workers hurry through the streets. Children laugh as they walk home from school. Then, almost unnoticed, a businessman pauses beside a stone wall for only a few seconds before continuing on his way. Nothing appears unusual, but experience tells you that the smallest action can carry enormous significance. Another officer waits several blocks away, while a third monitors the location through a concealed camera. No one acts immediately. The first rule is simple: never reveal that you are watching. Back at headquarters, specialists begin examining every report gathered throughout the day. Intelligence work depends on combining hundreds of tiny observations into a larger picture. One photograph alone means very little. A single intercepted phone call may be meaningless. But when dozens of reports from different officers begin matching one another, hidden patterns emerge. During the Cold War, both the Soviet Union and Western intelligence agencies invested enormous resources into this process, because understanding an opponent's intentions could prevent military surprises or reveal technological breakthroughs years before they became public. The KGB's responsibilities, however, extend far beyond foreign espionage. Another division focuses entirely on counterintelligence, searching for foreign agents attempting to recruit Soviet citizens or steal classified military information. Others monitor border security, protect senior government officials, and guard strategic installations. Inside the Soviet Union, political loyalty is considered a matter of national security. Reports of anti-government activity, underground publications, or suspected espionage are investigated carefully. The organization sees itself not only as an intelligence service, but also as the shield protecting the Soviet state against threats from both outside and within. As the years pass, the Cold War becomes increasingly defined by information rather than direct military confrontation. Nuclear weapons make a full-scale war between the superpowers almost unthinkable, meaning intelligence agencies become one of the primary tools through which the Soviet Union and the West compete. Every scientific discovery, every missile program, every diplomatic negotiation, and every military exercise becomes a target for collection. Behind the scenes, agencies such as the KGB, the CIA, MI6, and many others wage a silent contest that rarely appears on newspaper front pages but influences global politics every day. Yet life inside the KGB carries a heavy personal cost. Absolute secrecy follows you everywhere. Friends know little about your work. Family members are rarely told the truth about your assignments. Success brings no public recognition, no medals displayed in public squares, and no interviews with journalists. Many operations remain classified for decades, while others are never acknowledged at all. The greatest achievements of an intelligence officer are often those that no one outside the organization ever discovers. By the late 1980s, however, the Soviet Union begins to change. Economic difficulties, political reforms, and growing public criticism weaken institutions that once appeared untouchable. Under Mikhail Gorbachev's policies of glasnost and perestroika, parts of the KGB become more transparent than ever before. Journalists are allowed limited access to facilities, public interviews become possible, and the once secret organization slowly loses some of the mystery that had surrounded it for decades. The world itself is changing faster than anyone inside headquarters had expected. Then comes 1991. The Soviet Union collapses, ending nearly 70 years of communist rule. Along with it, the KGB, the organization that had become one of the most recognizable intelligence agencies in history, is officially dissolved. Its enormous structure is divided into several successor organizations, including the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, known as the SVR, and other domestic security agencies. The Cold War comes to an end, but the world of espionage does not disappear. It simply evolves. Looking back, it becomes clear that the true power of the KGB was never found in dramatic spy gadgets or Hollywood-style missions. Its influence came from information millions of reports, intercepted communications, surveillance files, recruited informants, and carefully protected state secrets. For nearly 4 decades, The organization shaped Soviet domestic security and international intelligence operations, becoming a symbol of both the reach and the secrecy of the Soviet state. As you lock your apartment door one final time and disappear into the evening streets of Moscow, history quietly moves forward without announcing itself. The newspapers will remember presidents, generals, and world leaders. Few will remember the countless anonymous officers who spent their lives gathering fragments of information behind the scenes. Yet in the Cold War, those unseen battles of intelligence helped shape the decisions, alliances, and confrontations that defined the second half of the 20th century. Sometimes, history is changed not by the people standing in front of the cameras, but by those whose names remain hidden in classified files long after the world has forgotten they were ever there.